Hey everyone, it's me, Fatima, and I'm on two different platforms, so I wanted to share this with my fellow child support family, and especially for, I don't want to say their name, but they're in the East Coast, like Pennsylvania, somewhere around that area, New York, whatever, and I want to say that, they had sent some people to me to pretend they needed help locally. And I didn't know this. Long story short, there was hidden cameras in my apartment. Of course, I was on the dark web. I was told they tried to humiliate me, which I don't care, and talk about me and everything. I was assaulted. I was burglarized. And I know who the people who are actually behind it, including the management as well. They took my child support information, documents, my SIM card, my memory cards, and I guess, to find out something or to set me up. Didn't work. This particular person, this is for the person who gave me a shout out some years ago, and I appreciate you. Thank you. That person who came to me with their child support document or paperwork, they belong to a men's group, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Fathers groups, rights, whatever you want to call it. Nothing wrong with that. But I was doing my own thing. And I guess apparently they ruffled some feathers. And that same individual who was a confidential informant, of course, he's unstable as well. He sent the same document to, our child support family in the East Coast, right? And basically, they've been hacking my phone. I know who it is. Same person and a bunch of others. There's been some county employees, attorneys, real estate agents hacking my service. Some Muslims, I guess from the Nation of Islam. I guess, I don't know what their problem is. I'm doing my own thing because I wasn't getting any remedy. So I thought I'd teach the public. This is something that's readily available online. And basically, I guess because I'm a woman, and they probably felt that, because these agencies or organizations are receiving nonprofit money from the county in my town, Sacramento, California, and also possibly state funding, and they have ties to the courts, of course. They get their stuff, what's it called, when fathers or whoever, families, go to this organization, they get favor, at least 50-50 custody, full sole custody, shared custody, which is not, it's not a big deal about that. Who cares? And there's enough money for everybody. But I think it's because, they're wondering, how am I know this information? How do I know all this? I'm considered to be, in destitution. Well, of course, yes, they put me in destitution. And I know it by reading, and it's readily available online. Like my child support family in the East Coast, and you know who you are. The one who started it all, and I started following you initially. They try to, infiltrate that because, my eyes watering. Hold on just a minute. That's where I got hit in the eye, because my eyes swollen. Water retention. But anyways, so I've been stalked, harassed, gang stalked, and I know who it is behind it because they drive state cars or county cars. Most of these church organizations who belong to this group, they have a seat in the in government, and I don't want to say which branch of government, but they will lose their seat because they sent a person from Washington D.C. It's a regular person, not nothing like too high official. To me, because I was on dating sites and I knew better. But, sometimes you want to get out and mingle and meet people and, and whatever, date. And they try to, I guess infiltrate me. But, they thought I was dumb and stupid, naive. And I pretty much knew a lot was going on, but I didn't have the actual proof. I just, I was compiling a lot of information because I was always wondering, what the hell? Because this all started when I was in this family court system, which I shouldn't have never been involved in. And part of it has to do with my family, too, inheritance and everything else. And, and they're mad about that I knew about that. The community who has resources, ties, funding from these agencies. And also, you know, I didn't know at the time, but I found out later that my internet is all the whole apartment complex. It's all tied into one substation, which is the man in the middle, which is Stingray device, or AKA cell site simulator. And with that, your internet is routed to the on-site security guy or whatever IT person. And then they store it. At one point, they had on Cisco Systems, which is the state. And then when I contact Cisco Systems, I'm like, well, why is my stuff say Department of Defense? Because they spreaded rumors that I was, you know, against the government because, you know, I'm teaching child support, or, you know, I have a right to redress. I am the government. Basically, I am the governed, you know. That's because I lived in an area where the education rate is so low. Majority of people there don't know how to read or write, and often they had issues. So the person in the system manipulated my. I was arrested before, but never was convicted. Never saw. Never had a court action, nothing like that. Everything's been dropped. So they went to the system to harm me. And they changed my arrest record and said I was arrested and, I mean, whatever, convicted, rather. Spent 5 days in jail, 5 years probation, which never happened. And then they put my name in a system where, to say that I'm unstable for the sake of, and my opinion is, because when I say the truth, then they'll think that, oh, she's unstable, don't believe her, blah, blah. So it was a lot of stuff that has happened over the years, and most recently last year. Currently, I'm in transit right now, or I'm a transient, because they purposefully or unwrongfully evicted me out. And part of it has to do with becoming a whistleblower as well. And, you know, they refuse to remediate or fix anything in my unit. If they do, it's minor. And then they'll burglarize my unit to damage something or whatever they would do, take pictures, shit like that. But what got them in trouble is because, you know, they said one thing, but they send documents to the government for another thing. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say, you know, you guys be careful out there and stay strong, because there are some infiltrators who are jealous and thinking you're putting a damper into what they got going on. See, I wasn't even paying attention to all that. I was just, you know, showing my case. But little did I know, the person behind it, I know who the person was behind it, but they've been damaging my vehicles. I had one vehicle, they damaged that. And this is the second one I bought in 2021. They damaged that. They broke into it, snipped my alarm, you know, to financially hinder me and to stop me from doing what I'm doing. I mean, they're on my phone constantly, which I know. And you guys probably know the whole shebang. The courts are involved too, because they own a lot of land. I have just a whole compiled list. They stole my documents. Like I said, they broke into my apartment and they stole my child support stuff. So I suspected at that time it had to do with child support, because why would you take that? You know what I'm saying? And I had old computers. They took my my SIM cards, or the memory cards, out of those computers. And the person who was behind it, there's two people. I know that for a fact. One of them is the one who had sent a document from my town to the East Coast to another child support educator. And I don't want to say any names because they will know when they look into their archives. So that person was spreading rumors that I'm this and I'm that, you know, whatever, because they're unstable. I have documented proof, you know what I'm saying? And they were getting paid under the table to do certain activities to certain tenants or whatever case may be. I have proof of that as well. So, like I said, they tried to poison me. They came to my apartment, and I didn't know at the time, but I suspected it. And I know my family's behind it as well. They put shit in my drinks, my spices, you know, my condiments. They put shit in my car. It's a whole lot of stuff. And since I moved from that community, I was forced out. I mean, it was good for me anyway. I was getting sick because they polluted the water. I have a video on my other channel. The water was black, basically. And the sink water smelled like gas. And so, of course, a lot of people in that area had a lot of lymphoma, so some sort of cancer, blood cancer, whatever case it may be. And because it's high chromium 10 in that area as well. And I believe that area is a subject, it's a test site, I believe, in my opinion. just the way that everything was operated. There was drugs permeating in my unit. The management didn't care about it. You know, they were oblivious. Like, I don't smoke because they were doing it themselves. It's a lot of stuff I've been through, and I have never, ever been so disrespected in my life. I mean, I've been disrespected, but not to this extent. I mean, I had attorneys on my phone, you know, hacking my stuff, attorneys on my internet, my website. I had a real estate agents on my website. I mean, I have the whole information. Local drug addicts following me around town, everything else. And I was like, what the heck is going on? You know, I didn't know at the time. So part of it has to do, there's a lot of reasons, but I know part of this reason right here is because of those fathers' rights groups. And they belong to a church, which is just locally in the area. And I didn't want to say anything before until I compile all my information. But that's part of it. And one is seated in government and within my local town. Now, just FYI, I have a right to redress. I have a right to educate. And it's nothing I say is misinformation. Everything is done online. And they've been trying to stop me. And then even when I was a whistleblower, I still am a whistleblower, they were intercepting my mail from the post office. They were also involved because, you know, they had the sheriff deputies involved. They were hacking my stuff. They had a smart line on my unit. They had hidden cameras. And I don't care what nobody is saying. That you prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. The majority of all the apartments in my town have hidden cameras. And you can't see them. You will never know. I know where to look and I know where they're at. You know, yeah. Because at one point, I was living in my apartment. And I first moved in 2015, and people kept telling me, like, why would you move to the bottom? I'm like, the bottom? I start laughing, you know? And they say, you don't belong in this community. You need to move. I'm like, damn, okay. But it was quiet. It was in a cul-de-sac, and I didn't think nothing of it. And I know really the history. I'm from Sacramento, but I never lived in that area. I've never, ever. I live in North, like in the Atomas and, you know, South Sac and certain areas, you know? And then I found out with that, somebody had stolen my identity. I have, like, if you Google my name, it says I'm 79 years old. And there's, like, I want to say 6 date of births attached to my name. So they committed that fraud in that community. And I'll upload that in the community tab as well for you guys to see. But back to what I was saying, in 2015, I moved into my apartment. And then when I moved in, I noticed this plant hook. And I'm like, okay, I kind of got a little upset. Like, you know, I don't want nobody just stuff in my, you know, in my unit, you know, but I ain't think nothing of it. And I should have put a plant there. But every plant that I had or somebody gave me or I bought myself, it always dies in that apartment because the water was polluted and the whole place was toxic. So, long story short, at one point, I don't know when it happened, but at one point I was laying on the couch and that's where the hidden camera was at too. They're pinholes. So I'm looking up and I'm like, what's the hell? And I'm like, that's how they were looking at me, you know, whatever I was doing or coming in and out, whatever. And it was on the dark web too, you know, as I was told. And I was looking up, I said, where's that plant hook that was up there? And I noticed that little circle part, it had like a crack in the ceiling. And then I didn't think nothing of it, so I punctured it. I'm like, okay. So then I started suspecting, well, let me back up a little bit. So prior to that, there was like this cord. Matter of fact, I have it right here. Oh, I can't get it. But I have this cord, and it was like an aux cord kind of like, it was like two, like this, and a long, you know, point. And so I'm like, where's this cord come from? I pretty much know all my electronics, you know, my cords, what it belongs to, whatever. So I'm like, where's this cord come from? And then fast forward, when I saw that hole, that plant hook was gone. So then I punctured it, and I'm like, okay. And it was like, it was cracking anyway. So I'm like, okay. So I came to the conclusion that was where the microphone was probably there, or the camera, because this particular wire or cord, which I will upload on my community tab, was on my floor, just in view. Like to say, haha, you know what I mean? Those people are low lives. Even the maintenance man were doing some unscrupulous, you know, stuff. And they were even qualified. Because the guy even said, he knows nothing about electricity, so why are you in my unit? And when I purposefully left the thermostat, it was like hanging off the wall. They did that on purpose. And I came back home at one point and it was tied in, you know, it was tightened. I was like, what? you know, but there's no forced entry. That's what they do. Even if you change your locks, they have bump keys, they have universal keys, they have all these type of keys that get into people's apartments, and the deputies do it too. So, but I just wanted to say, just be vigilant, and you know what's going on out there. So I came to the conclusion that these fathers' rights groups and these people who were sent to me to act like they needed help with child support, and they're in conjunction with my family, and I believe they have my mother's documents because my mom had passed, and I believe it's otherwise. You know, she passed untimely, and they're part of that group too, because their friend, who's apartment manager, gives them keys to go to people's places. They have people in that community be 24 hours locksmith, making people keys, be in the back doing this and that, fob keys, everything else. If you have a universal alarm on your car, change it, because what they do is, if you have a manufactured alarm on your car, these criminals make these fobs, universal fobs, and they scramble the numbers and they get into your car, you know? Because I always wonder, well, like, you know, I didn't wonder, but I knew. Because when I got in my car, I bump it, it would go off. Then one time I bumped it, it didn't go off. But I thought maybe, you know, something was going on. Then I started having problems then, because they did it at Walmart. And Walmart, too, is where the deputies in my town, they're all coming together because they're assigned to certain areas. And criminals, too. You know what I'm saying? So I believe part of that was for the child support stuff. They spread rumors I was against the government, all kind of shit. They saw everything I was doing online, sending documents over to the OCS, was it OCS? I have been on it for a long time. But, you know, the Federal Office of Child Support, you know, agency, helping people, doing my webinars, whatever. And I didn't know this at the time, but when I threw my jacket into my little storage area in my apartment, because I had no storage, I had a lot of stuff. So I came from my house and into a 2-bedroom, 870 square feet. So imagine that. And this one guy, he was talking about child support, this, that, and the other. And turns out he was lying. He worked for Department of Health and Human Services in the Bay Area. And he would say something like, so you threw your jacket on top of your vacuum cleaner? I'm like, damn, how you know all that? Turns out I looked up, there was a pinhole by the lamp. I mean, the light fixture. And somebody told me that before, but at the time I couldn't see it because, you know, it wasn't not quite obvious. So even the pest control people knew that too. Because I remember at one point, because when there's water damage, the roaches come out of the wall. That's how it is in California. I don't know about anywhere else. And they call them water roaches. And so at one point, I said, when the guy came into my unit, he looked at that light fixture. And I was always wondering, why are you looking at the light fixture? I didn't say nothing. I just looked at him. And then I was talking about the roaches that was coming from under the wall. It was during the summertime, the air conditioning on. He said, oh, no, don't worry about it. Those are water roaches. I'm like, water roaches? I've heard of that before. But they, you know, regular roaches, but they're really actually water roaches that live in the water. So when there's water damage or anything, that's when they come out. So, but anyway, but overall, I just want to say this for my child support family in the East Coast. And you know who you are because you gave me a shout out some time ago. They were trying to infiltrate your system, and they probably did. I remember one time this particular child support educator had said they got into his system, his emails, shit like that, and I believe it's the same people from my town because they have a whole conglomerate of people who work for these real estate agents or investors or owners. They own a lot of apartments in the East Coast, down south, which is like Florida, Georgia, you know, California, Texas, Arizona, you know, have their whole list. And there's a lot of them are investors. Some of the attorneys are investors. So I believe, like they did to me, they try to infiltrate my stuff. They use jammers. They use all kind of stuff. And I have this particular, I'm a little bit computer savvy because I used to do programming many years ago. Was old though, but when I used to do analysis on my computer, that's when I determined. I said, okay, because I kept wondering, like, damn, I had AT&T for internet service, and the next thing I know, it would say I had Comcast. I ran an analysis, and it will show the Comcast IP address, who it belonged to. I swear, I have the information, and so as of now, they've been trying to, they took my they stole rather my my whistleblower documents, because I keep them close to me. I mean, most of my documents that I need. They try to take my mother's stuff, the estate stuff, because they're so nosy. And, you know, they took my my business information, which is my EIN number and banking information, but the bank is closed anyway, so they won't get far with that. And my mailing address for my business. So basically, I don't know what they're up to looking for, but it doesn't matter. And because one person even said, like, yeah, they're getting PPP loans and people's names and da-da-da-da. So I Googled my name to make sure, but I didn't see anything. But it doesn't mean anything because they will use my information, like, to try to get phones at my address. You know, North Highlands is horrible, you know, and Sacramento is horrible because they've been doing it to a lot of people. But just for me, I paid attention. Because I was always wondering, like, my surroundings, like, why people doing this? They have no care. They're disrespectful. They're irate, always angry, on drugs, and the management does nothing about it. Nothing, you know, because there was a couple people who are informants for the manager and the sheriff department. But oftentimes, they're the main ones who are doing it themselves. So, I just wanted, like I said, say this because, this is what's been going on with me. You know, I'll be back on sooner than later. I have a lot on my plate because I'm working on different stuff. And, you know, from the gang stalking, I mean, I know who it is. You know, I mean, if I really wanted to, well, they damaged my car. I just, you know, semi got it fixed right now. It's still, you know, being under repairs, but, because they want to financially hinder me, you know what I'm saying? So when you're financially stable to a certain degree, then you're able to do certain things, you know, pay your bills, have access to whatever you want to do, whatever, you know. But they damaged my vehicle again, so they can hinder me financially, so it won't be efficient or whatever to complete my task in my for my mother's estate, so which is pretty much done anyway. But, you know, you have to go to the mailbox, you have to mail shit out, you have to, you know, print shit out, and, you know, I got shit in storage, and I got a printer, but, you know, it's like, I gotta get it out of my car and hook it up, and my computer, the laptop I have is very old, because, you know, it's a lot of shit, but, and basically, like, these gang stalkers, I know where they're at, so financially trying to, you know, damage me, because when I have the money to do it, you know, they're going to reap the wrath, you know, WRATH, which means that, you know, they'll be sued. And, you know, it costs money to, you know, print shit out and file. And they know it. I know exactly who they are. I got their names, their addresses. I got everything, you know, because what they'll do is it'll be one person and they change cars. And they rotate. So one will be, like, say, they've been on my phone. Matter of fact, I'm going to upload if I still got it on my phone. They'll be on my phone and say on my GPS, you see me, the blue dot, right? The blue indicator. And then right up a few feet or a few yards back, you see another blue dot. And when I was moved, like, I drive, they drive. And at one point, I guess it caught up to me. I guess it got off the freeway, and they were right next to me. So it was two blue dots, my dot and that person, which was an Afghanistan dude. And he pretended to be on the phone. I said, oh, okay. But I couldn't get my phone out fast enough to, well, I had the GPS on, and I was, you know, directions, and I was doing something else. I was trying to drive. So I didn't want to, you know, take a picture at that time. I should have just shut everything off my phone. But that's what they do. So I know exactly who they are. So it's like, you know, they trying to ruin me financially and make me, you know, in destitution, more destitution, or in transit, which is homelessness. Because when you're stable, you can be able to focus on what you need to do. And they don't want that. You know, I mean, currently, I don't want to say too much, but, you know, they even followed me to a temporary location where I'm at. I was like, what? I was shocked. I mean, the same lady that was at the eviction court, she can't, you know, she spoke to me, talking about, is there any clean in there? I'm like, I don't know, you know, whatever. But they have these people following me around. For what reason? I think it's because they want to know who's helping me, who's teaching me, you know, who's going against them, you know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that I do it myself, but they don't believe it because I was in that ghetto, you know what I'm saying? And I've never, ever lived in a ghetto. I mean, never, ever. I mean, the standard of a ghetto in some other states and counties, but in Sacramento, I've never lived in a ghetto. So they're amazed and they're surprised that I know this type of stuff. And it's to me, it's not rocket science. It's common sense for some and for most. So, and I believe they want to know who am I meeting with, because my thing was Walmart all the time. Walmart. And they were always following me down the aisle to see who's possibly talking to me, give me information. And I just laugh. It's so comical, you know? And then I started changing because I said, okay, let me go this place. Because, you know, it was like pricing, but then they're harassing me over there too. So, I mean, they have something on my car. I know that for a fact. Because, I don't want to say too much, but I left my phone, you know, on purpose. I wanted to see something. And next thing you know, there they were, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I said, they try to poison me. They try to, you know, on the instructions of someone, and I know who that is. And they don't really do it. They have the lowlife do it, or their family members do it. You know what I'm saying? They'll pay them little money, and they'll say, they're ruining my own enterprise, and da-da-da-da. And with me, they try to run me up the road. They damaged my tire, with the lug nut. I was running on 3 lug nuts. I think it was 3 lug nuts, I think it was. My car was wobbling and shit. So, I just want to let you guys know that I'm still here, and I'm still alive. And I'll be back on child support stuff. No, I'll say sooner than later, but it won't be too soon. But I see there's many other people out there educating you folks. So, just keep researching and, and be knowledgeable and be vigilant, of your surroundings, what you're eating, what you're leaving in your refrigerator. Because oftentimes when they want to get you, they'll do it in an unscrupulous way. That they'll say, oh, you got a natural cause, because everybody's involved. I found out so much information. It's unbelievable. Stuff that you see on the movies and the TV, like, they did it to me. They had the fire trucks following me. They would come late at night, putting shit in the people's cars. I seen it all. They pretend they're going to a call, and they were like, no, that wasn't us. You call to get information, like, say, public records. Nope, that never happened. It's not us. Nope, are you sure you called the right department? You know what I'm saying? And I realized the trucks were a little bit different. It looks the same, the red, the numbers, all that shit. But it looks a very little bit different. You can decipher that it's not really them. Even the ambulances, because there's certain type of ambulance that they use. And just for FYI, if you want to know, look up Crime Fleet Watch. Crime Fleet, F-L-E-E-T, Watch. And with Crime Fleet Watch, I'm trying to look down up the camera. So the Crime Fleet Watch is what, you have a whole heap of information. It's informative to know. And yeah, it's a lot of stuff. And they have these security officers who are off-duty deputies or sheriffs. Because at one point, I was wondering, I said, why is this off-duty sheriff who's a security guard was outside this one fence I was at, right? They couldn't get in. Next thing I know, they put a key thing on those dial pads. I said, oh, okay. Because to gain access to certain things. And so it's a whole big operation. And it was like thousands of people after one person. That's me. Because I guess I'm known worldwide. But like I said, I never got any remedy. They didn't want to give me remedy. They were playing games, and they knew the court issue was wrong. They knew that to have a custody hearing and a child support, removing my children, at the time they were 5 and 6 years old. They're adults now, but it ruined us as a family unit. My children are very smart. They're entrepreneurs, but I'm saying I really wanted them to go to, at least college to get some kind of status or some kind of, grounding, whatever. I had to move several times. I lost several stuff, just a lot of stuff. I couldn't even efficiently help my mother, regards to her health. But she was older anyway, but she was blind and she really wanted me to help her. But it was like, and she begged my ex about the child support stuff because they went to my daughter's, I guess, her, some kind of party that they had. I didn't go for her going to the military. And my mom said she begged my ex, take 15 months of child support. You guys are a family. Your kids are grown. And he didn't, my mom said he didn't say shit, but yet he sent my mother a holiday card in the end of, I think it's December of 99, somewhere around there. And I'm like, we ain't even together. He was already married, he was with somebody else at that time. So I was like, what is his motive? He's insane, you know what I'm saying? And my thing is, like I said before, he was a married man with kids, and he was still bothering me in the background, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, like I said, I'm still here. I'm still maintaining, and I have a lot on my plate. I know my eye keeps watering. No, I'm not crying. But I have a lot on my plate as of now. And like I said, I'll be back on soon. Hopefully sooner than later, you know, because like I said, they be on me. They be in the night in the bushes. You hear me? Literally. They're random people, thugs. I mean, at one point, I'm posted on my community tab, he was standing from the leasing office for hours, from early morning to like night. He'd be in the bushes. I come back. He's there. He's out. I guess to intimidate me, I called the office, the management. They were like, well, if you fear your life, contact the sheriff's department. But I'm like, you are the management. You're supposed to ensure there's nobody loitering in front of the building or the establishment. You know what I'm saying? And then when I moved, next thing I know, he's, you know, in the same temporary location where I'm at. And then he had his phone out, like he was videotaping. Because I came in, and then he went another direction, and there was a car that was parked outside. It's a Ford, white, tinted windows. And he came again. That guy with the white Ford came again like two nights or 2 days ago. And because they've been stalking me. And so the guy with the dreads, he rolls in, and I have a video. I'm going to post it. And he was racing. I couldn't catch up to him. I wanted to get his picture, you know, him driving, but I got the license plate number. And of course, you know, I haven't seen him since, but I believe there's a way of intimidation, possibly, you know, just part of the gang stalking. And because he looks like he's very unstable, you know. And so, but anyways, like I said, I wanted to share this, and I know who's behind everything, and I know who's seated in the government, in our local government, who's behind it. And it's just fathers' rights groups that, you know, watch my videos, many are videos, and they try to implement changes into the system. Like before, one of our child support educators, and I'm rambling, from the East Coast, you know who you are. He always said, autograph, you know, I say, you know, signature. So one of our documents in the court, I guess for child support, it says autograph, you know. Oh, no, it says wet ink signature. So you are inspirational in that, you know, because they take the information that was implemented on, you know, our channels, and they incorporate it into the system. So you guys were inspirational on that. So, and that's from the East Coast, you know. So anyways, I wanted to say, like, again, you know, I'm still here, and I'll be back on sooner than later. But I just wanted to let you know that there was an infiltrator or whatever, a confidential informant, or, you know, whatever he was. But he's not all that. He tried to infiltrate me because I believe him and somebody else who broke into my apartment and stole my child support disc, and, you know, my memory cards, and they're part of with my family as well that I don't even talk to, you know what I'm saying, like that. And the same person, just to give you an FYI, is the one who sent over his child support documents over to the East Coast, if you know what I mean. So it's all together, and they're just hateful. I mean, well, I don't say too much. Anyway, they're all connected. That's all I got to say. It's all connected. And I have compiled a lot of information. And like I said, they want to know who I know, what am I up to. They had hidden cameras in my apartment, like I said again. And, you know, those on the dark web, which people were too chicken shit to tell me. You know what I'm saying? They got off on it, you know. But, you know, that's a crime. And they're going to pay for it. So, anyways, until next time, you guys, stay strong, stay encouraged, and be informed.